sang this song to me. There was a message in its melody, sweetest lyrics that I ever heard. There's a message in the songs of earth. Tomorrow is another day. Living is the only way tomorrow's gonna ever come. Listen to the words of the song. Everything gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I have to thank my good girlfriend, Teresa Griffin, for allowing me to use that introduction, that song as an introduction.
Wow,
So
really?
yes, and I use one of her songs as the outro too. So I'm glad you like it. She'll be glad to know because I absolutely love it. Yes.
And you know, I love the title you have, A Sip of Inspiration. It's really, really nice.
Thank you. So for those of you who are listening and joining into us today, I want to introduce and correct me if I'm wrong, Radavie Riom, correct?
It's Radavie. And
Radavie.
you know,
Okay.
I only go by Radavie, but it's okay. Radavie.
Okay, it's Radavie. Okay.
Yes.
So you only go by Radavie. So we're gonna have to think about that last name. So
Yeah.
that reminds me of me. People say, "You're Stephanie Wilson-Coleman." I says, "Oh, Stephanie will get you everything you want." So welcome, Radavie. So I want to give you guys a brief bio. She does some incredibly interesting work healing trauma and helping you find inner peace. So I thought it would be great to share that with everyone because all of us can use some of that. And a lot of times we have traumas that we don't think can be healed, but they actually can be. So growing up in a remote village in Jamaica, Radavie felt a deep connection with the divine from an early age. At the age of 7, she began receiving messages from the divine spark, the essence of our souls. Eventually, she learned to heal herself from severe childhood emotional wounds. And as a spirit-based indigenous healer, she has also helped several thousand clients release their trauma. And I thought that that was so important for people to know that I wanted to read it because I didn't want to mess it up. Okay. So, more recent messages from the divine sparks have awakened her to fully recognize her soul's agreement for this lifetime, to support all others in breaking the code of human conditioning, and to come home to inner peace amid everyday life. I think that is absolutely fantastic because a lot of us are still working to figure out what's our purpose here? What's our assignment? What do we do? And we often feel like we're stumbling around when we don't know that all of those stumbles are actually leading us to what our purpose is. So thank you for joining me. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And we know when we get there, you know, because the passion is so strong inside that nobody can tell us we need to do something else. You know it, you got it. So that's right.
That's fantastic. You just know it. And does it become sort of fun to you when you do it? Even the obstacles are interesting?
Well, the thing is, I had no idea why I'm here. But when I was 5 years old, I would sit and very contemplative and I sit by myself. I remember leaning against the wall and I said, why am I here? And I would ask that over and over, why am I here? And of course, that feeling was into this big, mysterious place. There was this huge, mysterious place. The mystery was to be unfolded when I asked, why am I here? But the thing is, I now say, why are we here? All of us.
All of us.
And what I feel from that is we're here to remember what we really are. And I'll go to say Why do we need to remember what we are? Okay.
Mhm.
We were programmed. We all were conditioned. And I take the listeners back to remember when you were a little baby. You may not remember when you're a little baby. So let's say you see a little baby. Your heart opens because you look in the face of that baby and there's so much innocence.
Yes.
You're just taken back with this beauty. I want you to remember you were that baby. This is the essence that you came in with before language, all of us. And then we started to be trained that we're our name. We can start to move into the material world of what is right and wrong here. We need to have good grades. We need to be this and we need to be that. And we're carried away into a belief system. And in that belief is where the program is. And that program, we may not recognize, only has this desire to be living in a peace or the desire to be loved because we have been veiled away from the essence of our soul. And that is where the light of belief, the light of love is in the essence of our soul. So because of that, and as I said, we're here to remember because we have been veiled over with all these beliefs. You look out in the world and everybody's looking to be the best person out there, the most important, have the most money. Education is important.
Yes.
Nothing is wrong with that. But what it does, it takes us away to live in our minds, to live in our minds. And totally, the only thing in our heart is a desire to be healthy, wealthy, and all of the material world. That's what our feeling is about. What we have forgotten is that the programs has covered over the essence of our being. And the essence of our being, which is very, very deep to me, is the messages that I received that's in my book. And my book is
Bring it over a little bit. Yes.
Awaken to Inner Peace in the Midst of Chaos. And right up here, it says the Divine Spark Speech. So
So I
this
have a question for you, though,
for
before we get into the book. So, who were some of your greatest influencers or teachers in developing your spiritual practice? Because all of us are looking to develop a spiritual practice, but we're not
oh,
sure.
very, very, that's a really good question. So when I was 4, we didn't go to church. No, we didn't talk about anything of spiritual. We're just living in this little mountain village place, and life was good. Life was how it was, except my woundedness with my mother. But I went to Sunday school at 4 years old. I never forgot it. And I learned about God. It was an awakening in my soul. I never forgot it. And all my life, the passion and love to discover God, because they said God was in heaven. I wanted to know where heaven was. I would look up at, constantly. And through my own healing, my own wounding, my own healing, and lifting off a lot of the veils of programs,
Mhm.
I started to have more of a light inside. I started to have the veils became thinner. What that meant to me is that the veils of the egoic mind start to thin away, and I got to have more of a knowing that The God I'm looking for, that I think is in heaven, is the God that all of us have in here. And that's our divine spark. The divine spark is, yes, it's a flame of the one divine. We are the flames or sparks or flames of the one divine presence, which is God. So as we're talking, and I know I look at you, Stephanie, and then the listeners are listening. I just want you to know we're all from that one flame. There's no difference between us except what we're here, souls present to do and to the agreement we have.
So how do you work? How did you start to work with this divine spark or this divine flame? And so what steps did you take that maybe others can take? Because I know, well, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I know we all feel something. Sometimes we just don't know what it is, and we don't know how to work with it. So how did you start to work with it? And maybe the viewers can use some of those techniques.
Sure. I wanted to share my experience. May not be different, but it carries something in it.
Okay.
I walked away from my childhood life because I felt very wounded. And I know that many people carry those feelings within them.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how big it is or what. When we don't experience love, because we're here to give love and receive it back, none of us is getting that love because they're already covered over. Their program is, they're living their program self. They're reliving their belief self. And I walked away mentally saying, I'm not that child anymore. I'm moving away. And I couldn't get away because that was a very important part of my mission. And I had a mystical moment when she stood in front of me for several weeks. And I said, I don't want to see you. Just go away. I don't connect with you. And no language, no communication. But I knew that I had to connect with her. And I say to your listeners, it's probably a different story from yours, but I want the most important thing here. I want to tell you from that. It's important to connect with her, the child within, whether it's a man or not, because that's the one that's carrying the wounds. You're only having the memory, but the part that is disconnected from you. And for all those thousands of clients I've worked with, soul retrieval is about going to find a piece that is still wounded. And we commonly find that piece. That's where the healing stood, and integrate that piece with the client. I remember one woman said, oh my God, I'm so happy, the happiest thing in my life. It was so beautiful for her to say, I found my little child. It was very beautiful. So one of the most important things is to recognize that when you're feeling a lot of wounds, is a disconnected part of you that you need to find and integrate with you, bring in your heart.
What are some of the tools and techniques that you may use in a session or could recommend to the audience that they can use in order to connect again with that wounded spirit?
Yeah. So, right. I'm very empathic, and I have the ability to look under the hood to see what's going on, why they're speaking. However, I listen to my client, and then I will just have them really breathe and just, well, first of all, we enter into a heart space. That's what we do. And then I'll ask them, what part of you're feeling that? Where in you're feeling what you're sharing with me? Because they're coming to me because they're having emotional issues. What part of you? And they'll tell me a part of them that they're feeling it. And I'll say, give me a word for that. What's the word? First thing that comes to mind. Because every pain has a different word. And they'll say, maybe alone, lonely, or abandoned. Pain is abandoned. And then I'll say, let's go find where that started. And they are really, really agreeable to go there because now they've opened a sense of trust with me. There's nothing they're holding back. They're not tightening up to not say they're ready. And we'll go find the place. That's basically that's a basic thing, and it's not always the same way. And then we may find the peace, and I take them into the home. Remember where you lived and all of that. So you're getting into those details. Show me where you go when you're unhappy. It's sort of a general thing. And that's where they find. And I said, where would you go? Yeah, commonly they'll say, go to my room. Or maybe they go outside the house. And wherever they go, we're going to go there. And they always find that part that is still carrying the wounds, and we just embrace it and heal it. It's so beautiful. It's such a sacred journey, and feeling them become such an amazing, better person. It's
Are they surprised when they find it? Because sometimes I think people don't expect to find it. And especially as easily as that. We've been conditioned too to expect a lot of pain before.
yeah, but you know what? You'd be surprised. A man will take me out into the woods when he was a little boy, and he knew exactly where he would go and sit in the woods. And because there's a pain inside, he wants to get away from the house, get away from what's hurting him, because it's all inside the house where the family is, the parents are. And so many times they find them in different places where they would hide away. And that's what it is. And I think I have the ability to get them to find it. I don't know. I've never had one that says it's not there.
Okay, so everyone has a place they go. That is so true, because a lot of people, if you think about it, we all have places we do or things we do when we need to heal or need to have some quiet and some peace. We just often don't know the best use of our time so that we can heal that. We don't know that. We just know that we need to go.
Of course.
So when you talk about the human conditioning, like what types of dramas have you healed or helped the person heal?
Oh my gosh, so many things. Well, how it started here is when I started my self-healing. That's where my classroom was. Unknown to me. That was my classroom. But experiences is where I go to learn. I didn't know that at the time. So while I was going through my healing, remembering the past, it took me a few years to really get through, because I had locked it away with so much shame and so much doubt. And that's when I knew that I'm here to heal the wounded child. I knew then I was here to break the code of the human conditioning. And it sounded arrogant. I would not talk about that because it sounded, who the hell are you? It's to say you're here to bring. Who do you think you are? And but I would quietly say to myself, I don't know how to do that. I don't have I don't know how, because I know the pain and I know how much it's locked in. And then the messages began to come from the essence of our soul. And I had a vision first. And then they said, we are here to help the adults. But first, they have to take us out of confinement. And I knew exactly what that meant. They were locked away while we're living from the conditioned self.
Yes.
And the essence, remember, we went back to the little baby. That is so, the essence and the innocence is so beautiful. When I said, every time we look at a baby, we just fall in love. It's so beautiful. It didn't matter what color, it didn't matter anything. When those babies look into your eyes,
Yes, yes, yes.
that's the reflection of what we are. That's your divine spark. That's the one who gave me the messages. That they're locked behind bars and they want to show their love to the world.
So, what question could someone start to ask themselves so that they can begin to find some inner peace?
Beautiful. The first thing is you need self-discovery. All right.
Okay.
You want peace in your life. Oh my God, I'm falling apart. Look what's going on in the world today. Oh my God. But what's going on in the world today is you are taking that in as a really, really discomfort. It's a really chaos. The chaos that you see out there, you are reacting to it. And,
Okay.
and I know it sounds heartless, but it's true. We are reacting because we have a soft heart. We want love, we want happiness, we want peace. And when we see it out there and we can't change it, we take it in and feel the unhappiness and the despair because unconsciously we have always wanted to find peace within ourselves. And when all of that is happening out there, it's a reflection of what we have been searching for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful how we look at things too, I guess.
Yeah. And so you'll say, okay, so you understand that. So what do I do with my feelings?
Right.
Yeah, I get it. All right. So it's a reflection of I'm taking it in and I'm feeling it. And the whole world is going through this chaos, including me. I sit quietly, quietly and breathe. Really breathe. Breathe into your chest. And you're feeling that pain. You're feeling it. You're feeling because it's outside there and you can see it, but it's in your energy field. I'd like you to bring that. Say, okay, I need to get it in my heart. I need to get it in my heart. So breathe and bring it into your heart. And what that is also doing is nurturing the pain, nurturing and loving the pain, because remember, we are divine sparks and the only thing we have is the essence of love. And the mind is distracting us into chaos. So
in today's chaotic world, with all these ups and downs and things happening and people, and we're buying into some, and as much as we try to stay away from it or a part of it, so we won't become a part of it. It seems like it's just getting more and more difficult to ignore. So how someone's working on love, feeling in love, and healing themselves, what advice can you give them to just stay on that spiritual journey of finding the love? Because we know that when love shows up, things heal.
The light of awareness within us, of a true nature.
Okay.
Our true nature, well, going back to that innocence, that essence, that little baby we see, because we don't remember what it was like when we were a little baby, but that baby you see is exactly carrying the frequency
Okay.
of yourself. So you go back and remember that baby before language, before it knew anything, came here with just that innocence. And to say, I am like that baby. That's your true essence. Your true essence. And you say, and you say, I know I have forgotten. I have forgotten because I live in this life of programs. I'm coming back to my true nature. And I accept I am a spark of God or source, whichever word one wants to use. But I love the word of God because I heard it first in Sunday school.
Okay.
Yeah. So divine. I am a spark of the divine. And that's and you know, don't wait for a traumatic moment to say that. If you start to program yourself with that, I'm a spark of the divine. Even, when you're feeling good, that's the best time to do it too. I am a spark of the divine. You
Yes.
know, life
That's
is simple. Life is really simple. It doesn't take some big stuff to really get, because the more expansive the mind takes off with it. This is simple. Back to heart. Yeah.
I wrote that affirmation down. I am a
Yeah,
spark of
beautiful.
the
Yes.
divine. That is
Yes.
really, really beautiful. So, after your sessions with your healing sessions, how do people stick with it? What do you give them assignments so they don't forget? Because we forget, and the minute something doesn't go our way, we're back to square one.
I give them a prescription.
Okay, cool.
And most importantly, I want to hear from them in the next 3 or 4 days after, because I want to know. I'm so passionate to hold a space for anyone who wants to change. Oh my goodness. That's my dream desire. And I said, I want to hear from you in about 3 or 4 days. What's happened since then? What have you discovered? What else is happening? And I want people to continue evolving. Come back and see me. Come back. I used to have a program, like five sessions.
Mhm.
What I'm doing now is I'm offering people the freedom to look at their deservability. I want them to look to see what is more do they want to get. I give them the freedom to say, I feel the difference, but there's something more and I want to go back. That's honoring yourself. And I truly want people to do that.
That's fantastic. Because the classes are nice, but sometimes you need a little more, or a
Oh,
little.
absolutely. I definitely hope that people would continue doing that until they feel that sense of inner knowingness or inner peace.
It seems like society believes in the purpose of suffering. You work hard, you suffer, you'll get there, and when
You're
what you're saying is that's not the formula, really. So. So,
No,
so we have to release that idea that we need to suffer.
you're right. You're right. There's a foundation that we're coming from when we feel we need to suffer. And
Okay.
yes, and that foundation is the program self, the conditioned self. That's not the real us. The true foundation is the essence of our being. But we can't get there because we've forgotten, but we just sit in the suffering.
That's right.
And that is what my soul is here to do, to remind people. I am so passionate. I refer to myself as a messenger, the messenger of these messages, because, God, man, we're sacred beings. And in a meditation, I felt it and I just sobbed because these messages to me are the most sacred. They come from the heart space. I just.
So for those of you listening, we are both giving you permission to stop suffering. Okay.
Yes.
You
Yes.
now have Radavie's permission to stop suffering. It is not necessary. It will not solve your problems, right?
Suffering is it's an ongoing wheel that you never get out of.
Oh, I love that. Right. Okay.
Yes. And you keep suffering and you keep finding things to suffer from. And the important thing is our mind is the greatest thing that can either change us or trap us. Change or trap.
Change your trap. Yes. So when you deal with people who have had just experiences that have just some of the worst things anyone could experience, how do you help them through that? Because that sometimes people are affected by that and then they pick up other behaviors that don't help them either.
That gets into addiction,
Right.
all kinds of addiction. When people come to see me, Radavie is not the one who is working with it. It's my divine self. I mean, there is so much love and compassion that I have for people who want to change. I don't have the language for that. So they come and we're in a field of love and compassion. That's one of the most important things that will start shift because you're in a different energy field that embraces you.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, and people open to that and they trust it and they trust whatever it is, my words, my energy, my language that is offering them. I've had men cry. I had a man who came to me and he's sitting in the chair. I haven't started the work yet and I'm speaking to him and he was crying. I've had a man in his 70s who never cried because he was told growing up, don't cry. And he started to cry the first session because my divine self knew how to help him to bring it because it's so important to release the emotions. So many things have happened to my client.
So now you have a new book, right? Yeah, we saw the book. So let's talk about the book. So what inspired you to write this book? I know sometimes they just show up in you. That's how mine is.
I know. I thought I'm not a writer. I'm
Right.
not an author. But I got these messages, and I am God's message. When God or the divine speaks to me to do something, I'm a good servant. I never wondered why. I always do it. So when all the messages came, they really wanted humanity to hear their words, to hear what is locked behind bars and they're living a conditioned self. They wanted that. And with the help of my husband, who who co-authored the book with me, it has, in the book, it brings out the conditions first. So people get it. They know they're talking about. And part of it is some of my experiences, but my experience is it's the experiences of conditioning. And then in between, they'll have messages from the divine spark that relates to what I just wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And then their freedom exploration in the book, 12 of them. And you'd say, so what is that? Those freedom exploration is, I've put it in a video on my website. They hear it. So they don't have to go read it, because when you read it, you're in your head. And it's about holding you in that blank space to recognize what you really are. And they all have different expression. And in that, people will open and start to begin to recognize, I am not the one I thought I was. And so it has what you're not,
Okay.
what you really are,
Okay.
and how to get there.
Oh, so where can your book be found? Where can
Oh,
they find your
yeah.
book?
My book is on Amazon, and I just put the audio on too. But I love the book. The reason I didn't have it here, I took it downstairs because I want to reread it. I wanted to reread it. So it's on Amazon, and I'm going to open this. Just open somewhere to see if
Okay.
I have a message that I want to talk. That the divine. Oh, okay. So I just opened it randomly, and here's one of the things they told me. The deepest wound was not their behavior to each other and to us, but our light being covered by their shame. We no longer felt the pure consciousness of love. We felt like everyone else. That's part of it. We felt like everyone else. We're living like everyone else, the conditioned self.
Wow.
You know, I don't. I only read that because they're multidimensional words. They're not. So I don't try to explain. I don't. I just want that the words, the exact words.
So you write what they tell you to, what it tells you to write.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and very, very important.
So when you have people who start your sessions and they're doing really well, and you check up with them, what happens if they hit a glitch? Are they prepared to work through that? Or
Of course, because you know what? We have been programmed for so long, that you know the answer. You could get a glitch. But what I wanted to say to the listeners to have an idea about your authentic self, just consider. Right now we are on the computer, and we can only see each other and hear each other because of the screen on the computer.
Mhm.
Without the screen, there is nothing that you can't even use.
Right.
The computer.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So we either watching a movie, YouTube, listen to a program. It doesn't matter what it is. We get locked into the story
Mm-hmm.
and forget that we are the screen. So the screen is your light of awareness. That's what we are. We are the screen, And we don't, the only thing we do is allow awareness to be. So without the screen, without that light of awareness, everything, we don't see anything. It's through the light of awareness that allows us to see the world in the way in which we do. We could probably take our beliefs and hang out with what we see, but the screen stay still. The essence of our being is just a light of awareness that allow you in the world to be aware of whatever it is. We're here to learn, grow, and evolve. And sometimes what we see, we have a belief about it, but we couldn't see it without the light of awareness, which is our essence.
Which means so do we choose what we want to see? Which means we can always change our mind and see it differently?
Good question. Now, once we are aware that we are not what we're seeing, but we are the screen that holds that space
Okay.
for us to be aware, then you start to think, wait a minute, there's a difference here. And I just remember, that's come to me, so I just thought I'd mention this. I've always, God is the golden thread in the tapestry of my life. So I've always have a deep sense of the divine. And I was on a plane going home. I was on a flight, and I was reading a book by an awakened teacher, because those are the books I read. Just like that. Just like that. Split second, there's a part of me that was down the aisle, and that was like what I want to say, like a veil,
Okay.
but it's thicker than a veil, but looked just like me. And instantly I realized that was the part that was living as a spiritual person. That was the part that's doing all the juicing because I think it's the right thing to do. That was the part that went into doing vegetarian and vegan, all of that because I thought that was spiritual. And it fell off. And I'm sitting there thinking, what happened? What was seeing that was the light of my awareness showing me that was a veil that fell off me. The veil that I believed was the spiritual self, the belief self. Oh my God, we tell ourselves so many things and we think we get it right, but it's from a belief. And that came to me, and I wanted to share that not because we love God or love the divine, that we are living from our authentic self. We got to clear it. We got to unveil it.
You are so right. We do have to unveil it. And in society, we wear so many masks.
Yes,
Everywhere
absolutely.
we go, we wear a lot of masks. So,
Yes.
so when your clients finally get comfortable enough to unveil the spirit, what are some of their what are some of the things that they say and reveal to you? Are they happy about it? Is it
It's
hard?
like, I don't know. There's a shock to say, oh my God, how come I didn't know this before?
Okay, you're right.
How come I didn't know? See, same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, living from the nice dream of belief and be a good person. My God, they're not being, they're a good person, but they were not living from that authentic place. And what happened to me is that I started to really live in inner peace. That's why I go back to the one thing that we're here. why am I here? Why are we here? Is to remember that we are not that belief. That was the key. I feel.
that we that is that's fantastic. Cool.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about your book. Where can they purchase your book? At Amazon and other places?
Yes, Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. And yeah, Amazon, they'll find it. And the one thing when they purchase the book, I would love is important that they write something. They'll see where people write things, say about the book. That's very important for the book sale. That's the
Yes,
one
it
thing I
is.
would.
It's very important for the book sale. So
Yeah,
make
yes.
sure you get your copy of Awaken to Inner Peace in the Midst of Chaos. And it's available at Amazon. And be sure you do that. And I too would like to see some of the testimonies and some of the things that people
Oh
are.
my God. I was just shocked about some of the things they wrote. I was really, some of the people I don't know.
I mean, it's like, and there's a person who's actually a transformational life coach themselves that says, in my work, she led me to the most personal, intimate places within myself, which is where we find the keys to our own happiness. That is
You're reading from,
yes, that's
you're
one of
reading
their
from,
testimonials. Yes. That's one of the,
oh, yeah, oh, beautiful.
yeah, so that is fantastic. So we're coming to the end. So, what's one thing the listeners or viewers can do today to get started on the inner peace journey?
That one thing I said, you are the divine spark,
Yes.
and we all are. And that's important. I want them to say, we are all. And so I know so many people have been hurt by other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you step back and said, the divine essence in them, the divine spark never hurt me. It's the veils of belief and conditioning that has hurt me. And I have a story in my book that was really true about me and my brother. And it's just the true forgiveness. And that happened. And by he was in a nursing home because he had a stroke. And he was, I think, getting close to leaving. So when I needed to go see him, because we didn't live in the same town, when I opened the room and looked at him, I saw his essence because he was on the brink of going. The veils had fallen. And this is a brother who had hurt me a lot. And I went up and I sat in the chair, and my essence came so alive. And I looked at him and I said, I love you so much. I've never said that in that way to anybody before, in this heart way, because my spark was acknowledging the spark in him. It was such a beautiful moment. And so let us remember to do that, even before someone is passing.
Mm-hmm.
Know that underneath all those veils of deception and doubt and all of that and fear is the essence of ourselves. So live in that place.
That's so wonderful that you had an opportunity for you all to do that, and that's just right.
And I had no idea how important it would be to have that in the book, to have an experience,
Mm-hmm.
to have an experience that I could put here in the book to help someone else to see.
Well, I want to thank you for the work that you do. And I want to thank you for being on the podcast for today. We're coming to the end. So I want everyone to go out to Amazon and get your copy, Awaken to Inner Peace in the Midst of Chaos. You will enjoy the book, and there will be a lot of things. She actually, her other book is great too. So if you want to buy both of them, she wouldn't mind at all. So let's do some healing around here. That's what this world needs, for us to actually live in our divine self and our divine truths. That's how we fix this world. It's that way. So with that being said, I want to have you all who are listening to remember, may this day offer you just what you need in each unfolding moment. I want you to be inspired, and to further notice, just celebrate everything. Okay, absolutely everything. Celebrate it. Don't call it good or bad, just celebrate it. Do not go gently into that good night, but find a heel worth dying for and take it. Be the person that you have been waiting for, and make today so awesome that yesterday gets jealous. And above all else, I want you to do it your way. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, known as the Empowerment Doctor. And as I always say, I can do anything and accomplish anything with the right pair of shoes. So
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, thank you again, Radavie, for being here with me tonight.
Yes. I wanted to share also.
Go ahead.
I offer a 20-minute complimentary to anyone.
Oh, that's important. She does offer 20-minute complimentary sessions.
They get a lot from the 20 minutes. One person told me she started crying.
Oh, wow. How can they reach you? What's your email?
It's on my website, radavie.net.
Okay. So,
and my name spelled radavie.net.
RADAVIE.net, just in case there are just people listening. Okay. So go there and get your 20-minute session and do something really good for yourself, because we just don't do good things for ourselves anymore. So do that. That would be a great thing. And then let her know in writing how it went. Because when you're an author, you need those kinds of things. So
yeah.
Thank you again for the work that you do. Thank you for being here on my podcast again. And I want to thank you for just holding everyone up in the light, so that we too can understand and know and come to work with our divine that's in the middle of our whole being. So thank you very much. So with that, I'm going to say, guys, have a great evening. And remember, as I always say, life is too short to drink cheap champagne. So you guys that's right. You guys heal your life and have a good life.
Beautiful.
Life's too short to drink cheap champagne, so I decided to buy me friend to taste with my strawberry